republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and welcome this evening. Mr. Belair, would you like to introduce our guest?
Yes, good evening, everyone. Spring break, I thought, started this afternoon. What's going on? So welcome. We have a full house this evening. We must have something very important to do tonight. Just want to welcome Pat Fedor, who represents our Administrative Association. We have both Martha Shoemaker. I know I saw her pop in. Hi, Martha. Federation President, along with Linda Braley, our Vice President. Alan Walensky, representing the Board of Finance and our liaison. We have our first selectman here tonight, Dan Stewart. We have Paul Petrone representing the Patch. And we have a number of students here tonight, so it's good to see you. I just want to let you know that we have a bit of a conflict tonight. We have a public hearing that the Board of Finance is hosting this evening at 8 p.m. on the town budget, the Board of Education budget, and I think we're first on the agenda tonight. So both Kathleen and I will be exiting right about 8 o'clock. However, if we keep our report short, we may be able to hit the 8 o'clock time frame. We do have an executive session that we need to add to the agenda. So good evening, everybody, and welcome.
Before we begin, I'd just like to echo the superintendent's words. I think that we'll find jobs this evening, and we'll keep our committee reports as succinct as possible, because I think it would be advantageous for the full board to accompany us downstairs at 8 o'clock to the Board of Finance meeting. So we'll proceed accordingly. With that, I would like to ask the board to add an item agenda for student confidential matters while we're going to executive session. So may I have a motion to add that agenda to John and Jody? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion is carried. That moves us right to our consent agenda, consisting of the minutes from February 28, 2013 regular meeting, the monthly expenditure report for February 2013, and our food service report for January 2013. Are there any comments or questions concerning the consent agenda? Hearing none, we can move to a motion to accept. Jody?
Second.
Second by David. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries. And if you will just permit me, I jumped right to the consent agenda. Excuse me, we're in a little bit of a hurried pace this evening. And I forgot to open up to the audience that you do have an opportunity to make public comments at this time. If there's anyone present this evening that would like to address the board, please feel free to do so at this time. Yes.
My name is Josh Kelly. I live at 70 Oswegatchie Road here in Waterford. And I am a member of a group of students who firmly believes that students should have representation on the Board of Education. And we have a written proposal with over 400 signatures attached to show our support for our own proposal, and we hope that you will read it and give it some consideration.
Thank you. What's your name, Josh?
Josh.
Josh, thank you. We'll take it under review, and just for your information, I'm not sure if you're aware, but the Board of Education did place on its goals and evaluation at its last workshop in the summer student participation on the board, and we followed through with that particular portion of student representation, and we'll be back again to an evaluative piece in this summer. So I'll share this with the board, and we'll get back to it. Thank you for being here this evening. Are there any other comments from the public? Hearing none, we can move right to our reading of correspondence.
I have no correspondence to share this evening.
I just, oh, wow.
You probably be a long list in April.
Just quickly, you did receive from the State Department of Education that will have a contract administrator. Administrators will be coming up starting in July the 5th. And I will leave for the board a number of just items on different workshops from different organizations in our file cabinet. And then just, well, that'll be fine. Thank you. That takes us right to the superintendent's report.
So I need to follow my own advice, but I do have some very good news to share under the superintendent's report tonight. I emailed the board probably late morning, but I received an email from Rudy Beers, who is the Director of Finance for the town of Waterford, and she indicated that with the Waterford High School project, we'll be receiving a larger reimbursement since we filed for Renovators New with the high school construction project. The eligible reimbursement costs have increased from $42.3 million to $49.2. That's a $7 million increase. So does it pay to spend a little bit of money? You bet. And so looking at our reimbursement rate of approximately 34%, that results in a 2.4 reduction in needing to finance for the high school project. What that does for us, it's just not a one-time cost savings, but over the 20-year lifespan of any bond, it's a savings on an annual basis. So really kudos to all the work that went into it, and I'm pleased to report that tonight. The other thing that I wanted to share with you is there will be an inter-district collaborative meeting to promote regionalization. If you recall, we hosted a number of those meetings a year ago. And on April 10th at 7 p.m. up at Ledyard High School, board representation and superintendents are invited. So my hope is that someone from the board will be able to join me. I want to tell you that students over the course of the week, and I was hoping somebody might comment on that, had the opportunity during advisory to visit the new high school, the excitement. And I had the opportunity, along with the high school administration, just to watch faces. There happens to be a student in the audience who actually gave a report at our last board meeting who said to me, the rumor is true, you can fit in the lockers. But if you could have seen the smiles on the faces as they walk through the building, and they can't wait to get into the Lancer Cafe, so they're very, very excited. Last Tuesday on the 19th, we also held the first faculty meeting in the new Waterford High School. Tomorrow, our high school staff will be engaged in professional development over at the new school, really around the area of technology and the use of the new tools. We'll also be hosting 6 regional professional developments for districts all around southeastern Connecticut here in Waterford. And that's nice recognition of the work that we do here within our school district. The other thing I had mentioned earlier, but since our last board meeting, representatives from Clark Lane Middle School attended a recognition ceremony by the State Department of Education, recognized as a school of distinction for standardized test scores for some of our subgroups. So one more time, congratulations to Clark Lane Middle School staff. We also have been recognized with our new high school project, and I'll pass this around. Jay Miner shared it with me. It's the Sarnafil related to roof design, and the Waterford High School is recognized as third place recognition. So we'll start down this end and we'll move around. Third? Well, what can I tell you? We were recognized nationally. As I indicated, spring break began this afternoon for our students and for the adults at the end of tomorrow. The Oswegatchie Principal Search, as well as the Clark Lane Middle School Assistant Principal Search, are both underway, and you'll see around the room some new artwork from our Waterford High School students, and it's just absolutely spectacular. On the table behind me are also some writing samples, so that's all I have to report. Lots of good news.
Thank you, Mr. Beller, and I would also just like to commend everyone that worked so hard on the renovate as new status for the high school. As you said, it's great news not only for the town but for the entire school district. So we're very, very pleased for all those that participated. Thank you very much. That leads us to our committee and other reports. Jody?
I have 10 now. As far as the school building committee goes, the high school, as you know, is going to be moving in over vacation. It looks great. The open house is going to be on Saturday, April 20th, from 9 to 12. I hope everybody can go, and make sure you tell all your neighbors to go too. It really came out beautifully. And Jerry mentioned today about the university reimbursement, and I think that's at the school building committee. And the Youth Service Bureau, we had a meeting last week. All of the after-school programs that already closed went very well, and I think there's one more. The journaling and they did very well at that also. The children really enjoyed it. They had a lot of students on snow day. It was great that Eustis River was open for parents that work. Their big, well, it's not really a fundraiser, but their family night is going to be So You Think You Can Dance, and it's going to be on Friday, April 26th at 7 p.m. at Waterford High School, and it's only $2 per person. And it's great to come out. A lot of the teachers are taking part, and students, and I think it'll be really a nice night, nice family night. WADE, Waterford Alcohol and Drug Education Committee, they submitted their grant, so hopefully, say a prayer, they're going to receive that $100,000 grant for 5 years. Every 5 years will be $100,000. As far as counseling goes, there's still a great demand for counseling that Youth Service Bureau is trying to meet with our children in town. Quite a few more than last year. Camp Dash is all set. Paul Murphy and Megan Leinberg are going to be in charge again, the head counselors, like they were last year. This year, because of all the snow days and everything, it's only going to be 6 weeks. And registration is going to start soon, so just check with Rec and Parks about that if anybody's interested. And I think that's it. Great. Thank you, Jody. You're welcome.
Friendship School?
Would you like to give the report on the friendship?
Sure. I didn't grab my notes, but we adopted Wednesday as a full day from a half day, which was probably the biggest news that came out of there. And I did hear a lot of buzz about that the next day, and it was really well received by everybody. Enrollment is on pace with the other years, and did I miss anything?
No, I think it's a good transportation issue for...
And we've asked the Friendship School to come to the board either late spring to do an update on the school program, just as we did with the Waterford Country School. I think it's timely.
Alan, would you like to comment?
Just very briefly back on the school item, because I'm not sure how many people paid for the budget on the day. We went out to bonding for the first phase of the high school, and the bond rate came back at 0.1%. So we are saving a tremendous amount on our
Adding the students
Thank you for adding that. Thank you for adding that, Alan. Just quickly, the Waterford Education Foundation held their spelling bee last night. It was a nice, very good success. The room was filled. A team that won called the Stellar Bees, and I think everyone had a great time. Mr. Sachs, were you one of the judges? You were right there, and particularly late, you were complimented by the Education Foundation for being such a good liaison back to the board. But it was a lot of fun, and I told them that maybe next year we'll get the Board of Ed to participate. Secondly, on the CAVE report, quickly, there is a new award for CAVE that I thought we might look at that would help. It's the Energy Award, and with all that we're doing...
Timely, isn't it?
Yes, and I think we have another month or so to get that in place, so I thought that might be worth looking at. Also, to just take a look at the CAVE website, there are a lot of workshops in it, some of them are in the basement, so that's good. And if I just may mention that Jody Nazarchik was also very instrumental over the years in trying to pull regional boards together in a collaborative fashion, so we're happy to see that taking place in Ledger on April the 10th. So that's it for me, and that can move us right to our new business.
So if we had a set of drums in the room, we could probably do a drum roll, but just to kind of give everybody in the room a sense of the process. It started with an application, a 40-minute snapshot interview with 15 to 16 questions, and then proceeded to a 75-minute interview with our search team with another 22 questions, and then with the administrative team for 45 minutes. It then ended at the Board of Education for an hour interview, and then a visit to the school last week. And we had the opportunity to interview and meet with 9 department heads as well as team leaders. We had the opportunity to meet with 15 faculty. We had a panel of 20 students. We met with the superintendent, the special ed director, the middle school principal, Board of Ed members, parents, within all of that. And there were 10 of us there visiting from our search team. So the school was open to us to really find out what our candidate that I'm recommending to the board could bring and brings to the Waterford Public Schools. Our goal was to find an educational leader to follow Don Macrino and engage in the next level of work with our faculty, our staff, parents, students, and the Waterford community. We were looking for a person with experience, who was a visionary, builds relationships, understands teaching and learning, is a visible presence during the school day as well as after hours, is a critical thinker, good problem solver, good communicator. I kidded our search team we were either looking for Mother Teresa or Jesus Christ. And so it all came down to really trying to find the very best fit for Waterford High School, a person who brings inspiration, that brings out the very best in our staff as well as our students. And I believe we have a fit. I am recommending to the board Andre Hauser, who resides in Madison, Connecticut with his wife and his 2 boys. He has served as the high school principal at Coggins-Shaw High School, Region 13. Those are the communities of Durham and Middlefield. For the past 3 years, Andre has served as the high school principal, and the previous 7 as the assistant principal in those 2 communities. So the folks that we met really had a handle on what Andre could bring to Waterford. Andre is a former English teacher as well as a department head. He taught at Enrico Fermi High School in Enfield, Connecticut, and prior to then, he taught at Palmer High School in Massachusetts. And one of the things that really intrigued the board during the interview, Andre also spent a year hiking on the Appalachian Trail. So members of our search team are in the audience. I know I see Greg Watts in the back. I think Tim Fioravanti, Becky Amonte. Jean Ryan joined us on the visit, Kathy Malone, Jim Sachs. 2 of our students, Colin Harrington and Hannah Swanson. And did I miss anybody? Craig Powers, Joyce Sawchuk. I think we had half the district involved in this decision-making process. And I'm very pleased this evening. In addition, we had 2 of our parents who would have liked to be here this evening, however, they had conflicts. Cindy Hersom, as well as Ken McBride, and 2 of our teachers, Amanda Batty and Tony Tessier. So this is the team that has advised the superintendent in the recommendation along the way, and I'm pleased to present recommended candidate Andre Hauser to the Board of Education for the appointment of Waterford High School principal.
Thank you, Mr. Belair. And since Mr. Belair mentioned, the Board of Education has a fairly extensive interview process with our candidate, Mr. Hauser, but I'd like to offer this opportunity to the board and to anyone that may have an additional question before we move for any action. So I'll first ask the board if there are any comments, or if you want to ask Mr. Hauser anything in particular. If not, I would just like to make a couple of comments. And one, first, welcome this evening. We're happy to see you here. Secondly, I was very impressed with your knowledge of technology, given that we're going to be opening a new high school with state-of-the-art technology. So we're very pleased to see your technology experience. And also, and I think Mr. Powers will back me up on this one, we have our policy committee has been a little bit delayed this month with all of the different activities that have interfered, but our next policy will be dealing with bring your own devices. And I saw you had a real forte in that area, so we'll be happy to receive your comments as we go through developing that particular policy. So those are 2 areas that you certainly stood out greatly in my mind on your application, and your resume is just fabulous with your teaching experience at the high school. And I think the board really was impressed with your student-centered ideas, and that we're looking forward to hearing more from you as we move forward. So if there are no other comments, we can move to a motion to accept the superintendent's recommendation to accept Mr. Hauser as principal of Waterford High School. Would somebody like to take your motion?
So the Waterford Board of Education approves Mr. Andre Hauser as the principal of Waterford High School, effective May of 2013.
Thank you, Ann. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by David, I believe. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Mr. Hauser, I would like to tell you that the board doesn't usually move at this pace. We're a little slower, but we would like to give you an opportunity to make a few comments, but first we'd like to welcome you. You will be very pleased, I believe, with the Waterford community. As you can see, our first selectman is here. We have a wonderful collaboration with the town and the community, and I think you're going to be a wonderful fit here in Waterford. But please have a few words.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say thank you very much to all of you voting for me, and for the trust you put in me as the next principal of your high school. I certainly hope to live up to that trust. I would also like to tell you how excited I am by what you're doing in this community and what I think I can learn from you. I don't know if you guys know how remarkable the increases in student achievement in your school district have been recently. Your faculty is getting results, and your students are performing in ways that they shouldn't be. They're just improving by leaps and bounds, and there's a lot that I want to learn from them. So I'm very excited to be here and be part of this team, and to see what, given the brand new facilities that you've created for them, they'll be able to do. So thank you all very much, again, for the opportunity to serve you. And as Jerry mentioned, I think I've already met about half the town. I've been impressed by everyone that I've met, so I appreciate the opportunity.
If I may just make one final comment, we're very pleased to have you here. You have very big shoes to fill with our principal, John Macrino, who has served us so well over so many, many years. It's really a bittersweet moment for us, but we're delighted to have you here, and we wish Mr. Macrino naturally the very, very best. So welcome again, and we're going to look forward to ongoing conversations with you. Thank you.
Great.
Now, that will move us right into a presentation.
So during our budget deliberations and our workshops, we talked about that over the last few years, we've been taking a look at ways that we can reduce our energy costs. We had some conversation with an organization known as Energy Education, and although we explored that particular possibility, it didn't really result in what we hoped it would. So we continue to explore ways that we can reduce costs, especially on the operational side, so that we can really hold on to the programmatic aspects of our program. So we've had the opportunity, Andre isn't the only one that's been through a pretty lengthy process, but we have two gentlemen in the audience that represent DBS Energy, Gary Lane and Eric Partone. And Phil, Jay Miner, and I have met with them probably at least 5 times, and I know Phil's probably talked to you another 10 times on top of that. And we really want to share tonight some opportunities that we have as a school system to continually reduce our energy costs. And I'd like to turn it over to Phil, and then invite both Gary and Eric to present, and they could sit right up here in the front.
Yeah, this presentation is just the beginning of a major drive for Waterford Public Schools to lower our energy costs over the next decade. This is a small startup project of many more to come. Gary and Eric have visited us, I think it was 6 or 8 times with Jerry, Jay, Miner, myself, to help us with this energy conservation, our energy conservation goals. We have finished they have finished many projects around the state, and they come with high recommendations. I spent a lot of time making sure we picked the right person. We did a lot of reference checking. They do a lot of work in the Hartford area with CREC, and they will go a little bit more into that as they go into their own experiences. I present you with Gary and Eric.
Thank you very much, and I don't think we can outdo the the first agenda with the new principal, but we appreciate the opportunity for being here tonight. And just a little background on us. Gary and I are the owners of our company. We're a small energy service company located in Cromwell, Connecticut. We've been in business doing energy services in Connecticut for about 20 years. We're actually former Northeast Utilities employees. We met basically at the utility. We have different backgrounds. We were part of the regulated utility, so we were involved in the energy conservation efforts back in the 1990s, and also in the power contracting side of the utility as well. And we got involved with the Capital Region Education Council about 7 years ago. CREC, which is the largest regional education service corporation in Connecticut, put out a competitive bid looking for a company to perform energy services, not only for their districts, but throughout the state, for both boards of education and town entities as well. And we responded to that bid, and were successful in winning it. We've been very active in the state of Connecticut. We've probably served, I would say, maybe 80 or 90 of the communities in all aspects, on the town side, boards of education, wastewater treatment facilities. We've got kind of a broad areas. And
District 13.
Actually, District 13.
Is in line and
and we do a variety of services. We come in, we look at an in-depth analysis of your buildings. We perform an energy audit. We work with your facility folks and your management to identify areas of opportunity. We also look at the utility company's energy programs to see what grants and incentives are available at the time that we do our audits, because in a lot of cases that dictates where we may focus, depending on where they have the most funding opportunities. And for your school system, we did focus in on a couple of areas. One is the exterior lighting within the schools. The systems that are in place right now that have been in the facilities are basically the prior kind of technologies. And Connecticut Light and Power Company has a program right now basically promoting the upgrades of these systems using LED technologies. And Gary, I think, has a couple examples that we can just pass around. We also looked at, and our company's been involved in the renewable programs that the Connecticut Clean Energy Fund has created for about 5 years now. And we've performed dozens, actually last year about 30 solar photovoltaic projects within school systems in Connecticut. I brought just a little photo. This is actually something different. These are sample photos of projects that we've done throughout the state in the last 18 months. And what we did is we looked at all the buildings to identify an opportunity, and we basically narrowed it down to Quaker Hill School. We're proposing to put in a small 25 kilowatt solar photovoltaic system that would be on the roof of the building. It would actually supplement the energy of the school. And I put in some information. This system would be linked to basically a real-time metering system that would be accessible through the internet, so anybody at any time of the day can monitor that system. They can see it. It would actually be part of a program that the state set up just recently. The legislature set up a solar program that was enhances some of the old programs, but their focus is really putting as much of this technology into local facilities rather than having the utilities buy renewable credits outside the state of Connecticut. And that's been a real driver for this of late. And we've provided some economic models in the back. these measures actually would save over the useful life of the systems over $800,000 to the public school systems. It's a very significant amount of money. It's a start. You know, we're always mindful of other opportunities that come up. You know, as these programs kind of advance, and they change, they focus on different technologies, you know, each year. So we think this is a start of an opportunity to work with the public school system here in Waterford, and we're looking forward to it. We're excited about it. We see the enthusiasm, and we want to be a part of it. Any questions, feel free to ask us or email us. You know, if there's any information that you'd like on the different technologies that we're proposing.
Can you just go over a little bit of, you also went into side of our buildings, particularly in our high school.
Yes.
Looked at some of the high energy types of situations. Can you go over, just compare one bulb to
Yeah. That little unit right there, which is actually made in the United States, we're a big proponent. The majority of our technology that we're proposing is actually made in the U.S. But that fixture right there would replace, that's an LED fixture for an exterior light. It's a 90-watt fixture. It actually can replace a 400-watt metal halide fixture. So we're looking at roughly about a 75% reduction in energy use for a typical fixture. The other bulbs that John has, those are retrofits for recessed can fixtures inside. Those bulbs would replace up to a 42-watt fluorescent, and they range anywhere from 5 to 13 watts. So it's roughly about a 75% reduction, and they have an average usable life of about 25 years. And there's other things in our analysis that, not to bore people, but one of the big efforts that we focused on was maintenance. And I think Jerry hit on it. You know, I think people underestimate the amount of infrastructure that's in these buildings and what it takes to maintain them. Each one of these fixtures, and there's thousands of them throughout the school, all have different components that need to be maintained, ballasts that are very difficult to get at. So it's a real maintenance headache, and it's a lot of time that I think people don't really have an appreciation for. A lot of this stuff can actually get removed from the system. So there's not only energy savings involved, but there's huge amounts of maintenance savings and avoided capital costs looking forward. That's a big benefit to the school system.
Okay, thank you, Jody. I just have a question. You went to the new high school?
We did. We did.
I thought that was supposed to be energy efficient.
There's one actually in the pool area, and they have a 1,000-watt metal halide. And I'm going to be able to reduce that with 3 of those 90s. And if you do the math, I think that's about 270 watts versus with a ballast probably about 1,100 watts.
But in the new part,
This is an
that's the renovated room.
Right. But no, the new, no.
Okay.
No, absolutely not. But a lot of it, like Eric was saying too. But I'll tell you one thing I've never seen. I've been doing this for a long time. I've never seen. Your schools are incredible with the geothermal and the condition of them and how they're run. I mean, even in this, just the enthusiasm of the people. I mean, we're in a lot of districts. But we were able to find some things, and as Eric was alluding to too, we'd like to have the opportunity to do something, and then there'll be more opportunities. But we don't want to, we're a small outfit, and we want to prove ourselves. And I think that's the key thing, instead of coming here guns blazing. You know, I think you'd appreciate that.
So, you know, and also, I mean, Jay Miner, our director of building and design, has been great, and
Jay,
about so many ways to save energy.
Jay's incredible, and just his education, he educated me in what he's done in these schools, and it's incredible. Like I said, the geothermal alone is what you're doing, but the beautiful thing is with the geothermal, you're saving energy, but you're also using more electricity. So as we progress too, we'll be able to offset more of your expenses with the solar. So this is a great start.
No, I know even in our own home we switched to the LED light bulbs, and we save a lot of money every month. So if we can do that with the school, that would be great. Thank you.
Are the old fixtures, are those recycled or resold, or do they have any use after they're...
Well, the beautiful
taken out?
thing is you have, your infrastructure is new, well maintained. You have architectural fixtures, it's mostly lamp and ballast. That isn't a fixture, really. I mean, that's a bulb and there's a ballast that goes with it. So we're going to retrofit the fixture. So in terms of waste, we'll recycle the bulb and ballast. So it's not like we're trashing, taking down the fixture. That was the problem. I think you may have looked at this a few years back, and it was so cost prohibitive because you had to remove the whole luminaire.
Mr. President, why, we're going to try to give everyone a chance, the photovoltaic, why is Quaker Hill, what was your analysis, why did Quaker Hill come in first over the other?
A lot of it was the southern exposure.
Okay.
It was a very good southern exposure, and secondly, the interconnection with the building's electrical system. There's some penthouses that are right there, located up on the top. Very clean and nice, simple installation. There is other opportunities. I mean, we spent some time looking at different facilities throughout the town. We think there is a lot of other opportunities, and what we're trying to do with the way that the state's programs are set up, they have different times of the year that they open them up for. So we happen to do a smaller system at Quaker Hill only because that program was actually opened up at a specific time that kind of timed up for it. But as we kind of move along, we do see some other opportunities for larger scale systems. They have different sizes of systems for different periods of time. So we're kind of timing it up when the opportunities arise.
Eric, you didn't say it, but I think everyone needs to hear it. What's the cost to the town of Waterford?
There's no
cost.
There's no investment up front. This is the way the utility programs and the state programs have set up the financing. They've made this where, and I did touch upon it early on. The big thing that the state and the utilities have been focused on is when they deregulated the generation industry, the electrical generation portion of our utility bills back in 2000. They mandated that, to improve air quality, because we had a lot of dirty power plants, within the state. They mandated a growing percentage of the loads come from renewable resources. And what they were finding is in order to meet those percentages, the state was actually procuring credits outside of the state of Connecticut. So there was a lot of money leaving the state. And what the utility said is, look, we don't want that to happen. We'd rather have these assets be developed in state for obvious reasons. Jobs, revenues that stay within Connecticut, taxes, everything. So that's been the genesis of these programs and why they've created them and structured them the way that they have.
Thank you very much. Other comments from the board? I could tell you, Mr. Baylor, I knew there was going to be cost efficiency here before you posed the question.
I have a couple of questions. First of all, you throw out the number of $800,000 savings. Could you kind of frame that, please? That's not just Quaker Hill School.
No, that...
Could you kind of...
Yeah.
Because that number will be in the newspapers and online?
Yes.
Kind of describe what that is?
Yeah, what that is, John, is we run the analysis over basically an average useful life of roughly 25 years. And what that represents is two components. It represents the avoided energy consumption that the buildings will use. And we looked at all the facilities, so it's not just Quaker Hill. We've looked at the other schools as well. And we have specific audits of each different fixture, what's in the fixture now, what it's going to be replaced with, and the utility companies have software that we actually input all this data into, and it'll calculate out based on the different rates that you're under your energy savings, and that's what we use to derive these
So
figures.
it's a result of you looking at all of the schools
Yeah.
and recommendations that you would have for each school for the entire school district.
That's correct.
Not just one school.
Yeah, but let's clarify that.
Over 25 years.
The $817,000, which is the chart we have, is really just for the outside exterior lighting and the PV project at Quaker Hill only. There's even more savings when we go into more PV projects in the other schools.
So the 800 and something is just for Quaker Hill?
No, Quaker Hill
And all the exterior.
And all the exterior of the other schools?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It is
Okay.
savings, yeah.
Okay. I'm continuously amazed at the Board of Ed doing projects like this for the entire town. I think that because looking down the road, I would hate for us to have distributed systems on the tops of many buildings, when in fact the right answer might have been a community, and I've used the term before, solar farm, which you guys are familiar with. One that serves the entire community, not just individual systems on top of different buildings. So I think that before the school, the Board of Ed moves forward with doing this on one school, and maybe you want to do that as a pilot. I don't know. I think that the entire town needs to look at what would be the system that we would really want to have for a longer period of time, and not just think about one building, one school. I'm not really excited about mounting equipment on the roof, but that's what needs to be. So be it. The fact that one school has a better southern exposure, other schools obviously don't. I'm still enamored with the capped landfill that we have here in Waterford that has all the southern exposure you could want, and it's a piece of property that nobody's ever going to use other than for something like this. So I would hope that in the analysis that the town looks at the bigger picture and not just one building. I mean, I heard somebody mention that there'll be some improvements to the police station, and maybe that could be the next project. I just think that we need to take a bigger view of solar energy for Waterford.
We do, John, but we also need to start someplace. If you think back to when I first arrived, we had Bernie Pisarcik sitting here in the front row, talking. That was 3 years ago.
I had the same feelings when he was talking about, I guess it was the Friendship School.
Yeah.
What he was. Let me ask you a question. If the system is put on at no cost to the taxpayers of Waterford onto a roof, and we have storm damage, who's going to pay for the storm damage?
We cover that. That's part of our responsibility.
So we would never have to incur any cost of maintenance of a roof-mounted system.
No, John, it's our responsibility.
And Jay will worry about the holes that we have to put in the
Oh,
roof.
don't worry, we've been through it.
We've even got snow removal.
Everything from the solar farm behind Park Lane and actually Park Level Lane.
Yeah.
So look at the roofing systems on the buildings. These panels that they're dealing with are much, much smaller and much, much lighter than just 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
They're using individual inverters on the panels as opposed to one large, very expensive system. The mounting system there really are no penetration. They're all balances so attached to the building like we were looking at only 5 years ago. So the system is far less intrusive into the building envelope than anything that we've seen today.
This is the inverters that we use. This is a company that actually manufactures those, and it's an amazing technology. They've micronized these inverters that actually convert DC power into usable alternating current, and this company is actually affiliated. The majority of the ownership of it is Siemens Corporation.
Mm-hmm.
The 25-year warranties on their systems, but it's an amazing technology. It's revolutionizing the entire industry because it's making applications that used to have larger scale systems now can actually be down into effectively a single panel.
I really, not like to have to cut short the conversation tonight, but I think the board has found this very interesting, informative, and
Thank
it
you.
sounds like, really an area that we need to move forward on, and I'm sure we'll hear from you again, and, just thank you, I'd like,
I just wanted to relay some of John's fear. My office will take the certificate of insurances. They have that names us additional insured. We've reviewed the contract, and it's very similar. In fact, their contract is reviewed by the electric company because they wouldn't allow them to do this because they're paying a significant portion of the cost of it. So it's, we're protected. Loss, theft, damage, storm damage, we're protected in every single way. And then we, as a business office, we will make sure that we get the yearly certificates of insurance for that.
thank you for those comments, Jody.
One quick question. All of the roofs on all of the schools will be able to handle this type of solar?
Yes.
Thank you. Thanks, really good.
I want to thank you for coming
Thank
this
you.
evening and really working with us over the past year.
Thank you.
This
We
has
appreciate
been a
it.
long
Yes.
project. We started a year ago.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Before we take a motion to go into executive session, I'd just like to thank the Board of Education for their collaboration and cooperation on every issue that we look at. It's Board of Appreciation Month, so I'm thanking this board publicly. If I may take a motion to go into executive session. So moved. For two. Thank you, Jody.
Second.
Thank you, Dave. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Oh, excuse me. Back to the motion. I'd like to ask Dean, who's coming?
I'll need it.
Not you.
You guys.
Becky, myself.
Okay. Can I have your motion to add Becky
Good, how you doing?
and Fred? Jody. Second by Ann. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Yeah.
Thank you.
We were just so bad driving here. I just met one.